Welcome back to another episode of Out of Home Insider, the loudest voice in out of home. This is hardly an episode. It's actually hot takes, outtakes from last week's episode. If you haven't checked it out, I encourage you to check that out, whether that's before or after listening to this one. But after we stopped recording the main episode last week, Noah and I continued to have a conversation, and we felt that it was worthy of pressing the record button. So we're releasing it here a week later after the original episode aired. These are the hot takes. These are the outtakes. This is what happened after the episode. So without further ado, let's go.
Welcome everybody to the Out of Home Insider Show, a podcast like no other, hosted by the one and only Tim Rowe. Get ready to have some knowledge dropped on you and to be entertained, because nothing's more valuable than food for your brain. So sit back, relax, we're about to dive in as the best industry podcast is about to begin.
So do you think that having a kid has given you any insight in terms of not just like the world today, but how to target a much younger demographic?
It's interesting. So my degree, as I might have mentioned during the episode, is in finance. There's a famous investor. His name's Ken Fisher. Ken Fisher used to go to the mall with his daughter to observe what the kids were doing to identify investment opportunities, because he saw that the kids were obviously like the early adopters to a lot of this stuff. The thing that I think stands out the most to me is it happened on two different occasions. There's one particular instance that really stands out. My son was about 4 years old, and I had a bottle of Mountain Dew in the cup holder of my car. And he looked at it, and he was, still just kind of learning to talk as 4-year-olds. They've got words, but not like great words. And he said, "That's the race car. That's the race car." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "That's the race car." And I'm like, I looked at the Mountain Dew bottle. I'm like, "Oh, holy shit." The race car. He's like, "Yeah, the race car commercial. That's the race car commercial." And what it made me realize is that, like, they're always paying attention. They're paying attention to everything. And for Mountain Dew to have that kind of impact on my son at 4 years old, I thought was just so amazing. Like, he had brand recall, right? He remembered the specific piece of advertising that he saw. He made the association from what he saw as a car, right? The commercial was about a car. And then for like 3 seconds, it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. holding a Mountain Dew. So he was able to take that association and the bottle in my cup holder, completely different context, and put those two things together. And that made me realize that marketing is much more holistic than the last 20 years have kind of tricked us into believing it is. So many people are panicked and freaking out about data and privacy and targeting and this and that. And I got book center here for days, but here's a famous one. Ogilvy on advertising. David Ogilvy never had the fucking internet. David Ogilvy never had Facebook ads. And these companies made billions of dollars and are some of the most iconic companies in history. And you're worried about targeting. So that's, I guess, the thing that, observing my son has taught me, is that your targeting doesn't matter. Your creative matters, your message matters, and the way that you deliver those two things matters. So I think that's what having a kid has taught me.
Yeah, that's funny that he recognized like the brand just from the commercial and that he didn't know what it was.
Amazing. It was just so amazing. And he did it another time too. It was around that same age. We went to the movies, and do you remember, I don't know if they might still do them, the Chevrolet commercials, the real cars, real people.
Yeah.
And they would like walk in like 20 people into like an airport, an airplane hangar, and
they come up and down. Yeah.
Right. Like do that. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like the best car, right? Like that thing. We were at the movies. We were sitting there through the previews, and one of those real cars, real people commercials came on. And before you know, it's a car commercial. Like, it's like people, it's like, Tony, 32 from, San Jose, California. He goes, this is a car commercial. Before there were any cars, same thing, right? He had seen it. He'd seen the sequence. He didn't know if it was the same one, but he had enough contextual, clue that, hey, I've seen this guy, the host guy, right? Like, I've seen people in this similar setting, in this similar environment. And usually when those things happen, the outcome is it's a car commercial. It's so to watch that happening in real time in the mind of a child as an advertiser is just like the most incredible thing. Mercedes-Benz, I don't know if they still do. It's probably something from Ogilvy on Advertising, but actually it is. It's from Ogilvy on Advertising in the digital age. It's the updated yellow copy. I got that around here somewhere, but the Mercedes-Benz says it takes 21 years to convince someone that Mercedes-Benz is the symbol of luxury. Do you think Mercedes-Benz starts marketing to people when they're 40 and can afford a Mercedes? No, they started marketing to you when you were 13, thinking about your first car.
Yeah.
So then when you finally could afford it, you got that car you'd always wanted. So to put the exclamation point on the fuck your targeting point, I guess, is just that the creative, the message, it all matters way more than your spreadsheet.
Yeah, I agree that it's just better. Even with the Mercedes thing, I think they don't necessarily market to you, but you see it when you're like 5.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's a cool looking car.
Right.
You don't know what it is. Then you recognize the little lines or whatever it is, their logo, and you're like, oh, that's a Benz.
It's seeing the Christmas commercial every year with, like the red ones and the silver ones, and Santa's there, and and all that stuff every year. And, seeing it in the driveway with the bow and doing all those things. And it's awesome. Like I say it to the team all the time, like, who gets to have more fun than us? But I really mean that, like the campaign behind me, like, that's so cool. That's so cool. This company raised a whole bunch of money. They're scaling up very quickly. And like, they got together. They said, I think that the first time that the team had gotten together in like a year and a half to go out in front of this thing and take a picture. Nobody took a picture in front of a Facebook ad today.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. It's cool to work in the ad biz, I guess.
I think it's cool too. I like it. I think it's also like, not necessarily, I don't know. I think this might sound bad, but I don't think it's necessarily the hardest thing in the world. Like, I think it's hard, but if you have like
no, don't make it harder than it is. I agree with you.
I don't think it's really that difficult. Like, I think really anybody could do it if you like know what you're doing.
That's my frustration with most marketers is they like to complicate it. You were just listening to the outtakes with Noah Peshkopia. Again, last week's guest. I hope you enjoyed it. Just a quick tease of some of the content that goes unpublished. I'd love to hear from you if you enjoy this type of content. If you like more of the behind the scenes, the outtakes, the hot takes, let me know. Comment anywhere on social. But if you want to get in touch directly, it's tim@onescreen.ai. I would love to hear your feedback. outofhomeinsider@gmail.com. 2 emails. Either one of those will get to me. Would love to hear feedback if you want more content like this. Until next time, Seacrest out. Hit it.
Quarter century, I finally came to my senses. I finally got my hand up on the tinted Benz, kid. I see the world clear through my tinted lenses. With the dream and the drive, the possibilities endless. Now print that, send this all the way to Tokyo. Take a trip down south, down to Mexico. Next stop, Shanghai, the world-class trade show. First class all the way, cause that's how we roll. Yeah, call us the rock star businessman. Rockin' shows we handle business, man. We got our own future in the palm of our hands, cause divided we